This video is made possible by the lovely people over on my Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the channel or you want to get your hands on some awesome high quality STLs, then please visit patreon.com/Will at Heroic Studios. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I am Will at Heroic Studios, and I'm bringing you the latest and greatest in all 3D printers, the Anycubic Photon Mono M5S. It's the fastest, it's the smartest, it's the whatever is out there kind of deal. Now, this printer is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love working with it. I like all the bells and whistles, but there are a few issues that I kind of want to point out in this video. So if you have an M5S, maybe I'm saying something that's wrong, please correct me, because I really love this printer and I want to use it to the best of its capabilities because it does do a really damn good job. So if you missed my live stream where I unboxed this printer, you can go back and check that out. I went over everything. I unboxed it. I did all that fun stuff. So I'm not going to go over all the major details of the printer, all the specs and stuff. What I want to do is kind of get into how this thing works and the prints that it actually produces. So like I said, go back to my live stream. I did a full unboxing. I put it together. I turned it on. I played with it. I had some fun. I did not get a chance to print anything. So that's what this video is for. It's actually printing some models from wherever I got them from, which of course I point those out, link in the description if you guys are interested in any of the models I feature in this video. All right, guys, so let's get into some of the things that I printed. But first, I want to show you guys how this thing actually works. It is the fastest printer. It is the smartest printer so far that I've seen. There might be more, not sure. Don't quote me on that. But let's get into what I printed. So of course, I had to print what was ever on the thumb drive. You never know what you're going to get on these little thumb drives that they send with you. So I have this one print that came out and it took a really long time to print, maybe a little over 3-4 hours. I'm going to have Past Me tell you all about it.
All right, so this thing took 3 hours and a minute to print, and 1991 layers, 263 milliliters of resin, which, damn, that's a lot of resin, at a speed of 66 millimeters an hour. And this is what it looks like. Now, I don't know what this is, but this was the demo file on the printer. So let's get it cleaned up and let's see what it is I'm actually dealing with. All right, so let's check this out. Oh, it looks like some kind of barbarian or something. Wow, this thing took 200 of my milliliters of my resin. Didn't look like some of it made it, but it looks like just some of the supports. But 4K resolution, that's not bad. Let's get it cleaned up, see what happens.
There you go. So this thing printed really quickly. So this thing looks great. I did break the first one, so I had to go back and reprint it. And I actually did end up using the high-speed resin the second time. Now, that is another add-on that this printer needs in order for it to print properly. If you're going to be using the high-speed features, you need the high-speed resin. This stuff is about twice as more expensive as basic resin. So you're going to be spending about $50 a kilogram if you want to use the high speed capabilities that this printer can do. However, your boy over here has found that Amazon sells it at about $38 a kilo versus the $50 that you can get from Anycubic. Now, before you go ahead and start blasting all your cash over on Amazon, keep in mind that Anycubic does have a buy two, get one free kind of deal. So you can technically get 3 bottles for about $100. So take with that what you will. I just bought the single bottle because I thought that I just wanted to try out the high speed features to see if the resin that I used before was significantly better or worse than the high speed resin, because the first time I printed this thing, everything broke. So I printed it again with the high speed resin and it looks very decent. I can't really tear away all the supports because the detail and some of the features on this thing is extremely fragile and they will break. I've already broken a few skulls. The axe broke. I cured that back on. This thing is extremely fragile, so just be super careful if you're printing this. All in all though, with the 12K resolution that this printer does give off, it looks really good. I mean, there's a lot of detail to be had. There's a lot of nitpicky little instances in the model that needs that extra pick me up when it comes to resolution. Like 4K is great. I've seen 7K, I've seen 8K, but 12K is kind of like stepping it up. Like they're going up there when it comes to this resolution. Anycubic was like, yo, hold my beer, bro. And boom, they went straight to 12K. Pretty cool stuff. And I like that. I like how that is a thing. And you want to bring out as much of the details in your models as possible. But of course, that depends on the model. I'm not going to get into that. So let's continue on. The next thing that I printed was this Bowser Stories. This is from Poképrints. This is a mashup between Bowser from Super Mario to Blastoise from Pokemon. And I guess this was back when the Mario movie was out or whatever. Anyway, it looks great. I like the details, and I'm going to let Past Me talk a little bit more about that.
Alright, so here is the Bowser Stories parts, all broken into parts. Haven't put it together yet, but I just wanted to show you guys the individual. So here's the head. So the head, if I can focus it a little bit. The head is actually pretty good. Look at those details. You got the eyes, you got some of the hair. Not a bad go. You got to get rid of that support leftover residue. But all in all, this doesn't look half bad. Here's the body with the shell here. Shell looks okay. Everything looks pretty solid. Now this probably wasn't the model to show off the 12K capabilities, but even though I wanted to see how long this would take to actually print on the M5, because I did it on, I sliced it for the M3 and it took like 7 hours, but this looks good. Here's the star. Kind of see the eyes there in the star. So basically I use this model to test the speed, and 2 hours to print this whole entire statue is not bad at all. So I will take it. So A+ in terms of speed.
Looks pretty good. I actually like this design. I like the overall aesthetic of it, and it came out pretty well. Now there are some issues with the supports that needed to be moved away, but at the same time, that stuff was in the back, and I supported it as such to make sure that that stuff wasn't going to be seen. But all the pieces fit well. All of it looked nice. It looked great. I have no complaints. So moving on. What is a 12K resolution if you're not going to use it properly, right? So I went over and grabbed me some miniatures from Dragoon Miniatures over on Patreon, and I grabbed his July batch, which is basically androids and Trunks and Gohan and all that fun stuff. And I wanted to see how well these details are going to come out. And I'm going to have Past Me explain to you exactly how they look.
Alright, so let's see how these minis came out. Oh, not half bad with the 12K resolution that they got here. There's Android 17? No, something else, I don't know. There's Trunks and Gohan. So I'm really interested to see how the facial features came out. So we're going to end up washing them, curing them, and seeing how they look.
These miniatures came out really, really good. Now, the 12K features are in the muscles, are in the clothes, and especially the hair, because this is Dragon Ball Z and you need all that detail in the hair. But I see a lot of the lack of detail in the faces, and that is probably due to how they were sculpted. These are designed to be miniatures, so you're not going to get a lot of facial details, but you can tell what the characters are. So I'm really liking the detail in the muscles and the clothes and the hair, how they're looking, how they're just, they look great with the 12K detail. So if you're looking for something that prints really good miniatures, this is probably for you. And last but not least, the final model that I printed was my Gold Ranger statue that you can get right now over on my Patreon, Will at Heroic Studios. I wanted to bring out as much of the detail as possible. Now, as I'm printing this, I'm realizing that the mesh that is on the suit, that is sculpted into the suit, is actually more vivid and vibrant than something that I printed on my N5 or anything else with a 4K resolution. You can actually see the mesh, the detail on the shield, on the weapons and all this stuff is actually popping a bit more, and it's a lot more sharper. So that 12K resolution did come in handy, and this thing took about a little over 3 hours to print. So we talked about all the stuff that I like. I like how fast it prints. I like the 12K resolution. I like the auto resin detect features sometimes.
Okay, so I just want to point out, before this thing told me when I was doing a print that it did not have sufficient resin
Turns out it was wrong. It actually did the print no problem. Now it did it again, and you see I had to stop it because some of the resin is gone. It didn't have enough resin to do this print that I'm working on right now. It got to about 60%, and I realized that the resin actually was not in there. Like, it wasn't enough resin. No, they got to 60%, I'm sorry, and then I realized the resin was actually gone. It wasn't enough to be in the vat. I think I said it right the first time. And I like the overall design, and mostly I like how the flash drive is on the side of the printer. I don't like how the freaking power button is on the back, which brings us to the con section of this video. Yes, there are some bad things. Not overwhelmingly bad, but a lot of things that need to be addressed by Anycubic. All right, so before I get into what those are, I want you to take some kind of context from it. So I'm gonna have past me again explain to you what happened. Okay, gripe number one with how this printer is supposed to operate. Now, from what I've researched, the only way to get the high-speed functionality out of this thing is to use the Anycubic Photon Workshop, which means any other software like Lychee or Chi2Box, whatever, as far as I've looked, does not carry the full functionality of this printer. So you have to use the Anycubic Photon Workshop in order to get the full high speed whatever that comes with this, along with the AI features, resin detection, and all that stuff. With that being said, this needs to be sliced and supported in that program, and as you can see, it did not do a very great job. And I hate how this program is not the same as Lychee. Now, Lychee, I have my own support settings. They work great, never had a problem. These supports right here have actually cured into the model. So this right here is not removable. This underneath here, not removable. I don't know what the settings are supposed to be, so that's something that I'm going to have to look into and play with. So if you want to see a video on that, let me know. I'll be more than happy to do it. But just a heads up, this thing took about 7 hours to print, which was great. Actually, I'm not sure about that. Check the screen right now to get a correct time. All in all, the details look great, but it's not. This isn't, you know, perfect. This isn't a perfect print, as you can see here. So this is a result of using this new slicer that I don't really know the support settings and how they're supposed to work. So I'm gonna have to redo this. Probably end up redoing it on my Creality or my Saturn or my whatever Photon Mono. But yeah, just a heads up, my biggest pet peeve is that you have to use this software in order to get the full capabilities out of this printer. Sucks, but it is what it is. So if you missed any of that, to put it simply, in order to use all of the functionalities of this printer, you need to have Anycubic Photon Workshop with it. Anycubic Photon Workshop, it sucks. It sucks. It sucks. I like Lychee. Now, there are some people out there that might be into the Anycubic Photon Workshop or whatever. That's great. I haven't figured it out in terms of supports. Everything that I printed on this printer has either failed or I wasn't able to get the supports off. And you can see from my Green Ranger bus that I tried to print, it didn't come out great. It didn't come out great at all. So that was a waste of resin. It was a waste of time. And I was kind of bummed about that. But that's that. Okay. So what I've learned is that if you go ahead and slice or pre-support your models in whatever slicer you want to use, save it as an STL and bring it over, you can do that. The problem is when it comes to hollowing inside of Anycubic's slicer and adding holes, it becomes a little bit more complicated. You start needing to edit to add the holes for draining, but since it's reading it as an STL, it's reading those supports as part of the model. You can't really just go in and click away. So if you're going to do something that's hollowing out your model and you want to use all of the features on the printer, you have to learn how to use this program. And I haven't really figured out the support settings if they're comparable from what I use in Lychee and over here in the workshop, if that makes sense. So that might be a video where I might come up with some settings that might be good for you guys if you guys want to use that. But if you're using pre-supported models that don't need hollowing, great. Just throw it on the build plate, hit print, you're good to go. But if you're doing something big like a bus and you kind of want to save on resin and not make it a solid as bust. You have to hollow it out, but you can't really do that inside of the workshop unless you are familiar with the support settings. It's a big like wrench in my plans, but I'm probably going to have to sit down and just kind of crank out how this slicer program works. Okay. Con number 2, the app doesn't work. Yes, this printer has Wi-Fi capabilities that connects to an app on your phone. Unfortunately, this app isn't very good. On Google Play, it has like a 2-star rating. And so I've tried several times to get my app to connect to my printer so I can print whatever files are on that cloud, especially that damn lizard. I want that damn lizard. I can't get it because it's on the app. The app doesn't work. I want the damn lizard, but I can't have it. And it really makes me mad. But maybe Anycubic is trying to fix that. Maybe there's something wrong on my end. Maybe I'm being a dumbass and I can't have this thing connect the way I wanted to. But I've tried several times and it just doesn't want to connect. So that's my gripe number 2. Going back to the high speed function and using Anycubic Workshop, you don't have to use that slicer in order to print whatever you want to print. You can print in Lychee, you can slice in Lychee and just have that come over to put it on your thumb drive and put it to the printer if you want. It's not going to print as fast as you would with the high speed functionality that you would get in the actual slicer. So just thought I'd throw that in there. It's not all a loss. It still prints. It still holds 12K resolution pretty good. So you don't have to worry about any of that. Just you want to use the high speed functionality. I mean, who wouldn't? I want to. That's why I got it 3 times faster. So there you go. Just take that with you. All right. All in all, I think Anycubic is starting to step their game up when it comes to their resin printer. Now, they've been cranking out a lot of new resin printers as of late, from the M3 line that was last year to now the M5 and now the M5S. God knows what else they're doing, but I'm really liking how these printers are getting more sophisticated and they're getting more fun to actually play around with. The AI settings, something telling you that you don't have a lot of resin in there, high speed functionality, 12K resolution. That's actually pretty cool stuff. And I think that a lot of these 3D printing people, companies, Creality, Elegoo, are going to try and follow in suit, because as of now, I think that it is only Anycubic that has a 12K resolution feature on there. So I give this printer a solid B+. And a B+ because I hate using Anycubic Photon Workshop. I don't like it. And the fact that you have to use that software in order to get all the functions of your printer, it kind of sucks. I don't like it. So maybe Lychee will update their subscription or their software to work with all the features that is with the Anycubic M5S. Maybe they won't. Maybe Anycubic might get in there and fix their slicer software to where this thing can be universal and it's open source and whatever. Also, I hope that they fix their app, because I really want to see what other files are on there that I can print wirelessly from my phone and check up on the status of my prints wherever I'm at. I really want to do that, but until they fix their app, can't really do that. So, oh well, it is what it is. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do hope this video was helpful and it helped you make a decision on whether or not you want to get this printer. This printer is going to run you about $500 plus easily, but my opinion is it's probably worth it if you're looking for a new toy to play with, something that's a little bit different from what's out there and something that is a little bit more hands-on and sophisticated than what is out there currently. So that's all. That's gonna do it for me. I'm gonna go play with my printer right now, and follow me on my social medias, check out my Patreon, follow me, like and subscribe, share the video, blah blah blah, do whatever you're gonna do, and I'll see you guys next time on another video. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys very, very soon.